Coinage has just aired an exclusive interview of Terraform Labs CEO Do Kwon, and saying viewers aren't happy would be an understatement. They've gone as far as calling it an insult, since Do Kwon pretty much failed to address the community's questions. It felt like the interviewer was trying his absolute best to make the controversial founder look good after he lost investors billions of dollars. Stay tuned as we tell you everything about the contentious interview. First up, was it all just a setup? No, really. Why did Coinage even air this interview? It was just 30 minutes of trying to make Do Kwon look really good after he practically sent the market crumbling to the ground. It felt like the entire thing was scripted. The interviewer Zack Guzman didn't even bother getting into the details, and every question was just a pathetic attempt for Kwon to come out as the good guy. They could have at least picked someone more neutral to do the interview, right? Like, maybe they should have called someone from Bloomberg or Fortune, or even an everyday crypto investor would have been better than Guzman, who's an investor in Terraform Labs. You heard that right. The guy interviewing Do Kwon is actually an early investor in his company, and if you ask us, he probably cashed out way before May. Do Kwon did it too, you know. He's been accused of making monthly 80 million withdrawals from his holdings in Terraform Labs. So yeah, who cares if investors lost more than $40 billion? Or who cares if 7 people took their lives because of the crash? Oh, and remember Fat Man, a regular Terra commentator on Twitter? Well, he was the first to point this out, but a lot of other commentators also raised this really alarming concern over Guzman's interviewing style. The guy literally smiled while asking Do Kwon about the 7 people who committed suicide because of the crash. Next, don't ask me the hard questions. We're 100% sure that Kwon probably told Zack not to ask him the hard questions. And we're not even talking about the really difficult questions yet. This guy didn't even ask him what the plan was moving forward, or what he had in mind to help the community recover their money. Yeah, sure, you've launched a new coin, but what's the roadmap? What's the utility? Or should we just sell our holdings for peanuts and invest in something more credible now? This is a joke, not an interview. They try to clean Do Kwon image, is an insult to us. This was a comment left under the video by user MasterKey Musica, and people just couldn't agree with it enough. Frankly speaking, this interview was good for nothing. All it did was remind us of May all over again. Do Kwon saying pretty much the same thing he said months ago, but we should have known better. He's lost investors billions of dollars, and now he's even taken 30 minutes away from our lives. Investors could probably make the money back if they wanted to, but they're never gonna get the 30 minutes they wasted watching this useless interview. And yeah, some of you might still think Do Kwon and Terraform Labs had nothing to do with the crash. You might even think their system was exploited by a group of hackers who wanted to bring them down. Well, listen to this for a change. Kwon released an untested, exploitable, and unstable algorithm in the market. Sure, there's a lot of algorithmic stabilizers out there, but this was the earliest to exploit. All you needed was a boatload of money and some basic knowledge about economics 101. Seriously, if you had these 2 things, even you could have crashed Terraform Labs. Well, you should have asked him where his plans going forward. You had a good opportunity to finally interview him, and you blew it. Despite losing so much money to this untested, highly exploitable algorithm, investors were still looking forward to hearing him out to see what he had planned for the future. Because after all, this is crypto we're talking about, the most volatile market in the world. But the interviewer's failure to ask the tough questions and Kwon's laid-back attitude has sort of made things worse. But where's the trail? The tech CEO did claim the Luna Foundation guard spent over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to prevent the UST from depegging. But here's a fun fact, there's literally no trail of that transaction. You can track regular withdrawals, but you can't even track a single transaction in which the Luna Foundation's guard spent $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Also, it doesn't really make sense. They didn't even spend it. It's an algorithm stabilizer, remember? It's gonna dump Bitcoin automatically to prevent the stablecoin from depegging. But the question still stands. Where's the transaction? Why hasn't a transparent paper trail been published yet? Here's a really outrageous theory. Maybe there is no transparent paper trail. We're still glad to know Kwon and Terraform Labs are facing multiple lawsuits and also under investigation for fraud. Prosecutors have also banned some executive employees from leaving the country, which means they found some serious proof against them. Also, why would they want to leave the country if they've done nothing wrong in the first place? Doesn't really make sense. Coinage has promised more interviews in the future with Kwon, but if it's anything like the one we just saw, then please do us all a favor and don't waste our time. So a guy from a company which Terraform Labs was an investor in is the first one to get an interview with Do Kwon. Seems legit. Time for some more news on the crypto world. Up next, we're not rallying. In case you thought this is the end of the bear market and we're rallying towards the bull season, we hate to break it to you, but you're wrong. The market will probably go down before it rises, and it'll stay like this for at least another month or two. Just yesterday, over $540 million worth of Bitcoin was liquidated from the market. But you're probably wondering, why are people selling at such a low price? Well, imagine investors who bought in when the coin was trading at $17,000 a month ago. It rose all the way up to $24,000, giving them a straight profit of $7,000. So all this is just a correction. And if you ask us, we think the market might stay like this not for a month or two, but the entire year. But that's only if people continue to speculate instead of hold. It all depends on your strategy. If you're looking to use these cycles to your advantage, then you can make profits from a bear market too. All you gotta do is invest in the right projects. You could even invest in something like Matic if you don't have a lot of money. It's trading at the $75 to 80-cent region right now. After spending some time looking at the charts, we think it's going to rally to $1 before coming back down again. So don't worry, the market will go up again, but you can also make some money while we're in a slump too. And now for necessary evil. We saw a lot of firms, lenders, exchangers, and platforms go bankrupt after the Terra Foundation collapsed back in May. Nearly $2 trillion were wiped off from the market, with experts and analysts calling it the next crypto winter. But what if we told you this collapse, no matter how evil, was actually necessary? Kunal Basin, director and co-head of crypto assets and blockchain at Canada's KPMG, said that this is exactly what the market needed to head towards maturity. Whatever was weak and unable to survive the crash collapsed, while projects and platforms with strong fundamentals and technology are standing just fine. And yeah, it seems difficult to spot the positives right now, but this was a long-due correction. Maybe instead of the crypto winter, we should start calling it the Great Correction or something. Expect to see a lot more maturity in the crypto space in the coming years. Developers and investors know where to put their money now, and it's not going to be in a weak project with no fundamentals offering absurd returns that only hold true in a bull market. Finally, a never-ending problem. Bloodbaths have been pretty common in the world of crypto, and we've sort of gotten used to them. But there's one thing which has also become really common that we shouldn't be so comfortable with. Any guesses? Crypto scams. There's still 4 months to go before the year ends, and billions have already been stolen from investors. The alarming thing about this is that it spiked by 60% compared to last year, and the crypto world continues to ignore the issue. This number will only go on increasing in the years to come. So maybe regulation is our best bet at trying to stop scammers from easily getting away with theft in the digital realm. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Was this interview all just a setup to relaunch Do Kwon? And were you satisfied with the questions Guzman asked? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.